Before you spend your next 2p coin, stop for just a moment and look at the date. If that date says 2008, you may be holding one of the most interesting transitional coins in modern British decimal currency. But here is the part that could keep you watching until the very end. There is a huge $780,000 figure associated with claims about this coin, yet the real story is much more complicated. Is an ordinary 2008 2p actually worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or is there something else you need to look for? Stay with me, because by the end of this video you will know exactly what makes the 2008 2p interesting, which design you should have, what details collectors examine, and what that dramatic $780,000 number really means. And if you enjoy discovering unusual coins and hidden numismatic treasures, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss our next coin discovery. The 2008 United Kingdom 2p is a fascinating coin because it belongs to a major change in British coin design. In 2008, the Royal Mint introduced a new series of reverse designs created by designer Matthew Dent. These designs were based on sections of the Royal Shield of Arms, and when the different denominations were placed together, they formed the complete shield. It was an unusual concept for circulating coinage and gave the coins a completely different appearance from the designs many collectors had grown familiar with over previous decades. If you have the 2008 Dent design 2p, the first thing you should notice is the reverse. Instead of the older Prince of Wales feathers design, the coin shows part of the royal shield. More specifically, the 2p displays the second quarter of the shield, featuring the lion rampant associated with the royal banner of Scotland. The denomination 2p appears above the shield, while Matthew Dent's initials, MD, can be found in small letters within the design. This is one of the easiest ways to distinguish the Dent design from the earlier 2008 2p design. Now turn the coin over to the portrait side. The obverse carries the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. Queen Elizabeth II is shown facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Beneath the portrait are the initials IRB, identifying the designer. Around the portrait is the traditional royal inscription, together with the date 2008. So when you combine the Queen Elizabeth II fourth portrait with the royal shield reverse, you have the specific 2008 2p design we are discussing today. There is another small detail that makes this particular design easy to recognize. The earlier 2p design had a ring of small beads around the circumference of the reverse, but the Matthew Dent version does not have that beading on the reverse. The change may seem minor, but collectors know that small design differences can be extremely important when identifying varieties. So if you are checking a coin from your collection or a jar of old change, do not simply look at the year. Look carefully at the entire design. The standard 2008 Dent design 2p is a copper-plated steel coin. It measures approximately 25.9 mm in diameter and weighs about 7.12 grams. It has a plain edge and no edge inscription. These specifications are useful because they give collectors another way to identify whether the coin they are examining matches the normal issue. And here is where the story takes an interesting turn. The 2008 Dent design 2p was not an extremely scarce circulating coin. The listed total mintage is about 241.8 million pieces, including the circulation issue and other versions. The circulation mintage alone is listed at approximately 241.679 million. That means an ordinary circulating example is not rare simply because it carries the 2008 date. So why should you care about it? Because 2008 was a transition year. The Royal Mint introduced Matthew Dent's new designs during the year, replacing the previous reverse designs. At the same time, the older 2008 Ironside 2p design had a much smaller listed circulation mintage of about 10.77 million. That creates an important distinction between two different 2008 2p designs. If you find a 2008 coin, identifying which reverse it carries is one of the first things you should do. This is exactly why experienced collectors never stop at the date. They examine the portrait, reverse design, lettering, condition, metal, weight, and any unusual characteristics. Two coins carrying the same year can have completely different levels of collector interest. Now let's talk about condition, because this is one of the biggest factors people overlook. A coin that has spent years circulating through shops, vending machines, pockets, and cash drawers will naturally collect scratches, marks, discoloration, and surface wear. A coin that has been carefully stored may retain much sharper details and cleaner surfaces. Collectors generally prefer coins with strong original condition, especially when they are building high-quality sets. But there is an important warning here. Do not clean your coin simply because you think cleaning will make it more valuable. Aggressive cleaning can damage the original surface and may actually make a collectible coin less desirable. If you think you have something special, it is better to preserve the coin as it is rather than trying to make it look shiny. You should also examine the coin for genuine mint errors. This is where an ordinary coin can potentially become much more interesting. A true mint error occurs during the manufacturing process, rather than being caused by something that happened after the coin entered circulation. Collectors may pay particular attention to unusual striking problems, abnormal planchets, major die errors, or other confirmed production mistakes. But be careful, because not every strange-looking mark is a mint error. A scratch made by another coin, a scrape from machinery, a dent from circulation, or damage caused by someone deliberately altering the coin can easily be mistaken for an error. The difference is extremely important. If you see something unusual, compare it with normal examples and, when necessary, have the coin examined by a knowledgeable numismatist. There is another fascinating side to the 2008 Two Pence. Special collector versions were also produced. The Dent design issue exists in proof and precious metal versions, including silver, gold, and platinum examples. The listed mintages for these special versions are dramatically smaller than the circulation issue. For example, the silver proof had a listed mintage of 10,000, the silver pied fort 3,000, the gold proof 886, and the platinum proof only 184. These are completely different products from the ordinary copper-plated steel coin that you might find in circulation. That distinction is crucial when someone claims that a 2008 Two Pence is worth an enormous amount of money. You cannot take the highest possible figure associated with an unusual version and apply it to every ordinary circulating coin. Now we arrive at the number that brought many viewers here, $780,000. You may see the 2008 Two Pence presented with a value of $780,000 in sensational coin videos or online claims. But it is extremely important to understand that an ordinary 2008 Dent design circulation 2 pence is not automatically worth $780,000. The documented information for this coin identifies the normal circulating issue as common, with a circulation mintage of more than 241 million. So if you have a normal circulated 2008 Royal Shield 2 pence, you should not assume that it is a 6-figure or 7-figure coin. Its face value remains 2 pence, and ordinary examples generally do not command extraordinary prices. However, that does not mean you should ignore your coin. The real opportunity is identification. Look closely at the reverse. Confirm that you have the Matthew Dent Royal Shield design. Check whether the coin is an ordinary circulation piece or a special proof or precious metal issue. Examine the surfaces and details. Look for genuine abnormalities rather than simple damage. And if something about the coin appears exceptional, get professional advice before accepting a dramatic valuation. The story of this coin is actually more valuable than the headline suggests. It represents a major redesign of Britain's circulating coinage and introduced a clever concept in which multiple denominations combined to create the Royal Shield. The 2 pence became one section of that larger design, featuring the Scottish lion rampant. Think about that the next time you find one in your change. You are not simply looking at a piece of metal worth 2 pence. You are looking at a small piece of Britain's modern monetary history, created during a significant redesign of the nation's circulating coins. And that is why checking your change can still be exciting. You might not find a $780,000 coin. In fact, A normal 2008 Dent design 2 pence should not be treated as one. But you could discover a less common variety, an unusually well-preserved example, a special collector issue, or a genuine mint error that deserves further investigation. So before you put that 2008 2 pence into a spending pile, turn it over one more time. Look at the royal shield. Look at the lion rampant. Check the lettering. Examine the date. Study the condition. Then compare what you have with known examples. And now, the dramatic value featured in today's video is $780,000. But remember, that figure should be treated as a sensational claim rather than the normal market value of an ordinary 2008 2 pence. A genuine valuation anywhere near that level would require extraordinary evidence and authentication, not simply the date 2008 or the Matthew Dent design. So the next time you see a 2008 2 pence, don't immediately spend it without looking. You may not be holding a $780,000 fortune, but you could be holding an interesting transitional coin that tells an important story about British coinage. And sometimes, the most rewarding part of collecting isn't the giant price tag. It is discovering something ordinary that has an extraordinary story behind it.